I am one of your hosts, Brody.
I'm Nathaniel.
The other host.
The other host.
Sometimes.
Another
most
host.
of the time. You know, we did have Andrew with us last time, so it does change every once in a while. Yeah. But we are talking about Star Wars Visions today. So if you don't know what that is, it is basically like the what if kind of the Star Wars universe.
Not really.
Yeah, because it's not canon. Maybe it's like more like a Legends type of thing.
The other thing is canon. What if's canon?
Okay.
But it's not what if because it's not.
But it doesn't take place within
you already
the main
know
storyline. It's just kind of.
It's just an anthology series.
Yeah.
An Anthony series.
An Anthony series. A Tony series, if you ask.
Tony.
Oh my god.
That's what it is. It's not a what if.
It's
kind of the only reason you say that is just because it's animated.
No.
That's the only reason he's saying that.
No, it's because it's not stuff that actually happened in the universe. It's like alternate realities type thing.
Says who?
Wikipedia.
F Wikipedia. It all happens in the universe.
I mean, because let's see. All right, we're gonna get into this even more. I want to read the description of the first episode. According to Wikipedia, set in an alternate history. The first 5 words right there.
Okay.
20 years after a war between the feudal Jedi Empire and a renegade Jedi sect called the Sith. It's an alternate history.
Who cares if it says alternate history?
I mean,
it could have happened anywhere.
And that's where I get the what if thing from.
No, that's not where you get the what if thing from.
That's exactly where I got it from.
No, the what if is the whole thing with what if is it's stories you already know with 2 changes. Yeah. That's not what that is.
It's an alternate. It's like I think of like a multiverse type thing where you have like an alternate reality, alternate history. That's basically it.
No.
And I don't want to get into what if too much because we'll probably do that next week when the finale comes out.
Oh yeah, is it the last episode this Wednesday?
Last episode. It's coming up. Excited. Pretty good series. But also speaking of good series, I enjoyed for the most part Star Wars Visions.
Yeah.
It has some haters, as a lot of things Star Wars does.
As everything Star Wars does.
Yeah, it's amazing. No matter what Star Wars will do, I feel like there's going to be somebody out there that just hates it with a passion.
Yeah, there's going to be a pretty vocal group.
Absolutely.
Just trashes it, no matter what it is.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what it is. They'll trash it.
Yeah, I'm like, it could be something just... anyways, I don't want to get into the negativity of Star Wars. Because I'm not here for it. Yeah. We've already had several discussions this week about negativity and all that kind of fun stuff. Yes, staying on the positive, Star Wars Visions had some very fun episodes. Loved them. In fact, there was some really, really good ones. We'll do our rankings later on.
Oh, yeah. I'll need an episode list because I don't remember all the names.
Some of them were forgettable. They're short. They're 14.
Yeah, 13.
Yeah, very short episodes.
Some of them are 20.
So we've got 9 episodes in this short animated series, and what I really liked, and it reminded me of Love, Death, and Robots, was that each episode had its own animation style.
Oh yeah.
So that was pretty cool. So we had a bunch of different studios that were doing this as well. Were you familiar with any of the studios going into it?
Yes.
So I'll read the list of the studios that made the different episodes. We have Kamikaze Duga.
I don't know
Studio
them.
Colorado.
Okay.
Geno Studio.
I've heard of them, actually.
Trigger.
I've heard of Trigger.
Kinema Citrus.
Don't know about them.
Production IG.
Yes.
And Science Saru.
Science Saru. I could have sworn Bones did one. Maybe not.
It might have been. This is just, again, I'm on Wikipedia with the names of them and everything. Yes. So, some of them were really good. Some of them, I've said before, one of the episodes reminded me of the old Kirby Saturday morning cartoon show. I was just fun stuff. So there's a lot of good nostalgia there for me too. And like I said, makes sense. All around, I think it was a very fun.
There weren't any. Oh, this one sucked. Episodes.
Yeah, even though some people say the second episode was the worst episode.
The Tatooine.
Yeah, what was it? Tatooine Rhapsody.
Oh, it was Tatooine Rhapsody. That episode reminded me of something I would have liked when I was a kid.
And that's the thing. Is
I would have thought, oh, that's so cool.
This is on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of kid-oriented stuff. Some of them were not really kid-oriented, but I remember Eliza was watching over my shoulder on one of the episodes, and it was one with the Sith that...
oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And so she was like, bad guy? And I'm like, yeah, that's a bad guy. So
bad guy.
There were some things I'm like, this is not super suitable for very young children, but
some of them were.
Yeah, most of them were, I would say. So let's just start going through. We're going to go through all the episodes here, talk about some things we liked and didn't like about each episode, and get ready to hear about. So if you haven't seen Star Wars Visions and you don't want to have anything ruined, make sure you watch them first. Like, they're not very long.
And then come back.
And then come back and watch it and listen to this podcast.
Yes.
First up, we have The Duel, which is one of my favorite ones.
First off.
Episode 1 was The Duel.
Was it?
It was.
What was episode 5?
Episode 5 was The Ninth Jedi.
What was episode 7?
Episode 7 was The Elder. He's got to look at the list. Anyways, I'll give a little quick description.
Wait, what?
Episode 1, The Duel. We have... And it pulls very heavily from,
I was thinking of a completely different episode.
Really, what were you thinking of?
Which one? The one with David Harbour.
Oh, that's what you were talking. I was wondering what you were talking about.
I thought that was The Duel.
No.
Which one's that one?
You're
Elder?
Thinking of The Elder. Oh. Yeah. Is this going to throw you off?
Changes my ranking list completely.
I told you, we should have watched it again.
No, I just didn't know the names.
All right, The Duel.
Okay, The Duel was still good. Okay.
Oh, no, it was one of my favorites. It's very, so, again, it pulls very from, like, Japanese history. All these stories do.
Samurai type. Ronin.
And so, yeah, it's Ronin. He's kind of off, and he goes to a village that's under attack by bandits. It's always bandits. You know, you love it. So,
always.
He's in there, and he's kind of just doing his thing. He's got a little droid with him.
He's doing his cool little
and he's
no speaking silent man drinking tea.
Exactly. Yeah, he's got tea. You know, he's like they're cooking or making the tea and all that.
Yeah.
And that's when the bandits roll in, and at that same time, the village is like doing an uprising against these bandits, and they kind of look like they're winning until a Sith. I don't know. I guess I'd call her a warlord.
Yeah,
and this is one of the most iconic, I think, lightsaber things in the series was the lightsaber umbrella.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That was pretty good. So she does some really fun art style, and so the whole thing is like it feels like it's pencil shaded.
Yeah, it's super stylized.
It's super stylized, which I love.
It looks great. Yeah.
Loved it. It feels very heavy and like not depressing, almost like
gritty.
Gritty would be a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it definitely has like the pencil
lines.
All it's animated type deal.
It feels like the air is heavy.
Yeah.
So like.
I feel like it's always raining.
Yeah, it was like made on like thick paper.
Yeah,
that's what it looked like. Yeah. So it's really cool, and the fight scene alone with that was so when she slices up one guy with it, when she like stabs it through him, and then she opens up the lightsabers and it's like. It's like, you know, when you're like chopping onions or something, like grate.
Or no, the apple slicer.
Slicer. It reminded me a lot of that. Just dead. So they're like, oh, we're in trouble. And that's when the Ronin kind of decides to step in.
Yes. And during that, his droid gets like
damaged,
hit by shrapnel or something. So it has to be repaired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that. And then he was like, repair this by the time the tea is or the water is boiling.
Yeah.
Oh, which leads to a really good like audio cue type deal.
Yes. So he goes down there, he's confronting it, and he kind of gets ready, and she's like, oh, it's been a long time since I've fought a Jedi. And because he catches her blade in his hand.
Yeah, with the Force.
It looked amazing. It was a great thing. And then she comes at him again with her lightsaber, and he pulls out his lightsaber. And I've seen this was a huge trend on TikTok. Love it. Very epic. And you find out he's got a red lightsaber.
A red lightsaber, baby.
So he's a Sith as well.
Yeah.
Really cool. I mean, it's like it's not our stereotypical Sith.
No,
like
it's like loner.
Yeah.
More not Sith, but like anti-hero kind of deal.
Very
Sith?
anti-hero.
Like fighting for yourself, not for just to kill people type deal.
Exactly. Very interesting.
A samurai.
So we get a really cool showdown between them, where he's kind of on the upper hand, and then he like loses it, and then he pulls a really great trick on her to kind of beat her, and he kills her.
I can't remember what the trick is.
So there's that waterfall there. He falls off, and she jumps down with him. And she thinks he's behind the waterfall because she sees his lightsaber ignite, which I guess it was another lightsaber he had.
Yeah, because there's a statue underneath the waterfall.
Exactly, and so she goes in, slices it, and it's just a statue, and then he's already behind her, and he just right in it. Oh, beautiful. And that's when it got really interesting for me, was because he's collecting Sith Kyber crystals.
Yep.
And you're like, and so each episode, I love that because like I want to know more about this. So this was one I'm like, I want to see more of this episode.
It leads you wanting more.
Which I think they got a comic of it too.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought that was interesting.
We'll have to research into that one.
Yes. So yeah, and then he gives the village leader, which is this little kid,
one of the
kyber crystals. He's like, it's gonna ward off evil.
Yeah.
Which, again, you take it for what it is because it's not super canon, but it's just a fun little story.
Okay.
Very good. So that was a good one.
Okay. I thought the Duel was the one with the Elder. When in our Facebook post, we talked about our favorite episodes, and I did that one in the Ninth Jedi. Cause that one seems like it'd be a duel too. Yeah. So I got those mixed up, but that's fine.
Okay, that's what I was like. I figured you kind of because they.
I was like, wait a second.
See mixing those around.
Yeah, but I thought it was a different title. Do we want to rate it now?
I think we go through all of them and then we'll rate it.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was one of my favorite ones. That's the first episode. It started off strong, and then we get into a lot more of a kid version, kid-friendly one. Episode 2, Tatooine Rhapsody.
This one's okay.
It wasn't bad. It just wasn't like there wasn't a lot of action. There was a little bit, but not a lot. It was very like power of friendship. Type of an episode. So yeah, that's I think where a lot of people had issues with it. But it's about a young Jedi. I guess he's like a Padawan because he's got the little thing.
And it seems to be when
it's during the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So he's like
or during Order 66.
The Clone Wars.
Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Wait, what's Clone Wars and Order 66? Is at the end of Clone Wars?
During like the Battle of Geonosis, I think is close to where it's at, or something like that. They're either fighting against the droids. He kind of gets taken in by this hut. And then you flash 40 years later underneath the Imperial occupation, or Imperial Galactic reign. And that's when the main story takes place. So the flashbacks, so you get a couple different things, but basically, he takes them in, and they form a rock band together. And I think that's another thing that threw people off, was the music that was in it.
Yeah, it's okay.
It was very average, I thought.
Yeah, it was very punk.
Yeah, it was. It was okay. And so you find out they've got this band of all these kind of cool characters. I was like, it's fun. And the Hutt is wanted by Jabba because he basically is going to get executed because he doesn't want to join the Hutt family and follow the family business. He wants to be a rocker. Yeah. So he gets captured by Boba Fett. Yeah. Which I thought was a fun little cameo. Yeah. And they basically, the band bands together and goes to rescue him, and they do it by putting on a concert on Tatooine.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was very interesting. I was like,
how many years later is it?
I don't know if
he didn't seem much older.
It says years later, during the reign of the Galactic Empire. That's all we get on here.
Okay, whatever. Because you wouldn't think Boba would be that old yet, right? Because he's like what, 8 in Clone Wars. And I would say this is maybe 5
That's another thing.
It's
like they all look like kids, even though he's probably more grown up.
He's probably like 14 there, and then he's like 19 there.
Maybe.
I'm just going with the 5-year gap because I can. Let's break this down. This does not work out at all. So it starts with Clone Wars, right? Yeah. So Boba's like I said, maybe 8. Okay. And then what? 5 years later, Boba Fett capturing him.
Well, it said in a battle during the Clone Wars, so it could be maybe towards the end of the Clone Wars.
It's still not lining up, man. All right,
Boba was 8 at the beginning of the Clone Wars.
How long was the Clone Wars?
That's a great question.
It wasn't that long, was it? We're tearing down the system. We found a plot hole, baby. Plot hole in Star Wars?
Wow. 1 hour and 38 minutes.
He's definitely not old enough now. How long did the
3 years?
Yeah, okay. Okay. So it's not lining up technically, but we'll move on.
We'll move on from that one.
But Boba Fett is barely growing a beard when he's capturing these dudes.
Maybe it was like 10 years later.
Yeah, it could have been. But he literally looked like the same.
No, he looks the same, but that's what I'm like.
But it was the style, so.
It's the style of the thing where they feel like it's like a very kid.
Oh, there's Boba Fett right there. He's got a little bobblehead Boba. Yeah. Okay. And it's obviously Boba Fett because it's,
it's Boba Fett. Yeah,
no one else has his stuff. So that's fine. He captures them. They go over to Jabba's place.
Yeah,
and he goes over to Jabba and he's like, they capture his friend first. They don't get captured. Then he goes up and he's like, hey, let us perform one more time before he's executed. And then they go and they perform.
And they sing a song, like the entire song.
Yeah, it was like 3 minutes or something.
Yeah. It took up a good bit of the time that they have for this episode.
And then they're like, what do you say, Jabba? Do you want to be the first one to invest in the best band in the galaxy or whatever? And then
the crowd wild.
Turns him. So.
Oh, yeah. And he does, I guess.
He's like...
He lets him live.
He just gives a thumbs up or whatever.
It's a great Jabba impression.
Thank you. It's pitch perfect accurate.
Absolutely. Completely
and so
accurate.
then they start playing an encore and the episode ends. Right.
And that was it.
And that's it. It's fine.
It's very lighthearted.
That's the one that I probably would have liked as a kid, just because it was like, oh yeah, they're cool punk kids.
Yeah, of course. It's very, again, young kids would love that episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. All right, moving on.
Fine episode.
That's fun. Like I said, it was one of my lower ones I liked.
Yeah.
But moving on, episode 3, The Twins.
The Twins.
The Twins was a
Neil
fun
Patrick
one.
Harris.
Yeah.
And Allison Brie.
Yeah, I know.
I looked at it, I'm like, wait, what?
Wait a second. What?
It's cool.
Yeah.
I had no clue.
The amount of, I guess, story involved in this one, I liked a lot.
Yeah.
Like, it has a lot going for it, and they have to cover a lot with exposition, like very heavy exposition by a droid. Yeah. Like, hey, we're doing this because we're doing this because of this, and you were here because of this. Very much so. So we have two twins that were made through
the dark side of the Force.
Yeah, so they've got that. Like, they've got like cloning probably, or I don't know how they made them through science and the dark side, and they have these two super powerful twins that are going to be used as weapons. Because like not only are they just like used to be like, I guess, as Sith, but they're also integral to the system that they made of these two Star Destroyers that are combined together with like a super laser in the middle.
Yeah.
And they have like a giant kyber crystal they're using to power it, and these two like twins, they have these suits that let them
they're like called death suits or some weird thing, like a dark suit or something.
It's just it's
pretty cool. It looks cool.
It's a cool, yeah. So I'm like, it makes sense. It's cool, but they're gonna harness the power of the kyber crystal. They're finally ready to do it, and one of the twins decides he's not gonna do it. The boy twin.
And it's obviously they can't do too much with like 13 minutes.
No,
but even so, it feels completely out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, he just decided.
They should have. Yeah. Well, I'm not.
What should they have done?
They should have had him start off with the vision of seeing her get taken over by the dark side, and the crystal kills her, and then he wakes up in a cold sweat. And they could have had it completely one-sided for the first half, where it's all him, his perspective of, oh, holy crap, I gotta save her, and then they go into, oh, are we gonna do the kyber crystal power fusion together, and then
But they took
we
that
already
time.
know why they're not doing that.
And they took the time, though, to do the exposition for it, though.
Yeah, we don't need that, though.
That's what they did.
I don't think. But
probably not. I mean, anyone who's watching this probably is at least familiar with Star Wars. They are familiar with a lot of the concepts and terminology of it. So you probably could have skipped a lot of it. But again, they wanted to really make sure that you got what they were saying.
Yeah. I could have done this episode better. I'll be honest. I have a very good idea, and I'm perfect.
It does rank a little bit lower on my list for this one.
The animation's cool. Like,
no, it was
pretty
and
cool.
The fighting was cool. I mean, so
a lot of it doesn't make sense.
His whole motivation is because
he wants to save his
sister, who he saw a vision. She's gonna die if they activate this weapon, right?
Which she doesn't.
No, but she almost did.
They activate it.
She almost did.
Yeah.
Because she's like, whatever. So she takes a piece of the crystal because they're fighting over the crystal. It breaks.
Yeah, they both.
She takes a piece
of
it.
Force thing.
Yeah, puts it into her suit and gets like super overpowered. Like, and of course it's all super stylized. And this is what cracked me up, is they're fighting outside in space.
Yeah, and they're just talking to each other. They don't have their helmets on or anything because they both get like, he has his off, he hits hers off, and they're both just breathing and talking out of space. The explanation could be they're made out of the dark side of the Force and they're clones, so they don't.
I also think it's just a cartoon,
and
they were just like, they're doing whatever they want.
Yeah.
Because another thing, so because she uses too much of the power of the crystal and it starts killing her.
Yeah.
And she's like, it was cool. Anyways, and he gets into his X-wing, and he saves her by going at hyperspeed and breaking it off of her. So that's another thing that wouldn't really make sense. But again, it's a cartoon. It is what it is. So yeah, he frees her from it, and he ends up crash landing on Tatooine. And
right. Yeah.
I was like, okay, I see the parallels of what we're doing here. He's got a twin sister, and he's gonna go save her. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So that's how. And then basically he's like, I'm gonna go save my sister, and he's talking to this little droid.
Yeah, decent action.
It was good. Like I said, every episode was pretty good. This one was just one of the lower ones because of the. Yeah. It felt not as much.
Yeah.
It was too much story in a short episode.
Yeah, it was too much story, but not enough story. You know?
Yeah, they sacrificed a lot to get this told.
It's like here's what the story was, and they did this, and they went super deep on that one part of the story instead of doing the whole thing at like a surface level. Yeah. They did like the first 2 feet of the water straight down. That's what they did. It's like, oh, okay.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. It was fine. I mean, it's a good episode. Like, I'd still watch it again if I
absolutely
wanted to.
Yeah.
But it was good. And nice action. You know, cool lightsaber stuff.
Anything with lightsabers is pretty good. Yeah.
Like these laser lightning lightsaber tentacle like things. Whips. Yeah, whips. Like,
yeah, and she has like robot arms that come out like General Grievous.
Yeah.
And she's like fighting. It was the cool. Action was pretty good.
Yeah.
So like I said, that's what bumped up. If the action had been good, it would have been a lot worse. I would say that.
Yeah.
So they did pretty good with it, considering that they were cramming a lot into this short episode. And one episode I thought did pretty good with having a heavy lore, but explaining it in a good amount of time was this next episode, The Village Bride.
Oh, yeah.
This one had a ton of lore of this world that they're on.
Lore, yeah.
But it didn't feel like they crammed it in there.
It was like, it got confusing for a little bit.
But then it made sense by the end of it. Yeah. And that's why I like was like where you can like leave little breadcrumbs, and then at the end of it, it all wraps together. It was pretty cool. So this was a good one. It wasn't as high on action. It was very slow. It felt like a breather moment for me in the series. Yeah. Because we watched it all back to back. Yeah. So this was a good kind of quiet for a while. So you follow. So years after the Great Jedi Purge, a fallen Jedi and an explorer are on this planet, and they're kind of just watching the customs of this planet. These people are deeply connected. Natives. Yeah, they're deeply connected to the planet, and there's like some mystical force on the planet. Yeah. Like I said, you don't need to know everything, but you know that something's like supernatural about this planet, and they're basically getting married, but there's a deep sadness about the whole thing. And you find out is because, again, bandits have reprogrammed reprogrammed battle droids from the war. Yeah. And use it basically to terrorize everybody and as collateral
because they fought to back at one point.
Basically, like just to make sure they would never fight back. They're like, we're gonna take the village leader, and his daughter was like, I'm gonna go in his place. So she's getting married, but she's also about to be taken away forever. Yeah. And
so the whole ceremony, they're all like just kind of sad.
Yeah, it's like
the whole time you're hearing whispers like, "Oh, it's not
and
fair."
You don't know.
Yeah,
and that's what's great. Like I said, you don't have to explain it up until the point where you have to explain it.
Yeah,
which we
just did.
Exactly. So yeah, you find out that, and the sister's like, I'm not going to stand by for this. And you find out she's going to go off.
Yeah, her and like 2 or 3 of her friends.
Yeah, they go like they're going to fight back. All 3 of them.
Yeah, they're gonna fight.
Oh man! And the sister's like, "Don't do it!" And you find out, and so the Jedi's just kind of like, she's like, "Why am I here?" kind of thing. Yeah, she doesn't really engage a lot until the end. Bandits show up the next day to collect their collateral. Yeah. And the sister's like, "All right, I'm ready to go." And then her sister is like, and they're like, "Oh wait, no, we actually found out that somebody was gonna attack us." The bandits are like, "You know what? So we're gonna just make an example and execute these people."
Yeah, because they captured the sister and the friends.
Yeah, as if I'm like, what did you think you were going to accomplish by attacking these bandits? Yeah. Not much, especially with your limited experience, I guess, with war. It was just, it's like, okay, I get it. They're angry. They wanted to exert their anger, but it did not help anybody. In fact, it hurt because they're like, no, don't do it. And then we get the action sequence of the explorer, who is also like a marksman, because he was like hitting these sniper shots. Okay, but before that,
he goes to shoot the sister. And they're like, "Oh no!" And then, frame change. It's the bolt is frozen in midair.
They do that a few times in the series.
Yeah. The next episode, I think they do it again.
Yeah. So the Jedi stepping in.
She's stopping the bolt from hitting her, and then she throws it back and hits the guy with the gun.
Yeah, and knocks it out of his hand. Leader. And then the bandits get all kind of taken out. They destroy
the guy is up on the ridge,
and they destroy their control of all the droids too.
Yeah, he. How did he do it?
He blows it up with his helmet. Or the
the
helmet takes off, and it shoots around and goes into their ship, the control ship, and it blows up the ship. So all the droids are taken out. So it's just like 5 bandits. There's really not that many. They're really relying heavily on this army that they had. Which in hindsight, probably wasn't the smartest idea, especially when you have one control point for all these droids.
and then you bring it with you when you go to find them. Wait a second.
Yeah,
probably have it somewhere farther back away where they can't find
it. Case. But they probably weren't expecting much because this is a tiny little village. Right. But yeah, and so that's how, and basically it ends with her leaving.
Yeah. Oh, it also ends with her killing the guy, but she has like some hover boots that she like flies up.
Yeah, yeah, because he's holding her hostage. This is your classic like don't move or else she's dead.
Yeah, type deal where she's gonna kill the dude who's holding her hostage. Yeah, it's gonna happen. But how are they gonna do it?
I think they use like the force speed.
No, it was super cool. Yeah,
yeah. She's kind of and like it's like the thing where you do the quick sword pull and peck, and then it's like yeah.
And they cut to her like boots and like she levitates a little bit and then go.
So I think that's what's implying that it was the force.
Yeah, it just looks so cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I thought her boots did like I thought they started glowing or something.
I feel like they did too.
But the force.
The force.
It was
the force. The force.
It was a really cool episode.
That's not how the force works.
That's not how the force works. That's always how the force works.
It is. Come on. It's however you want it to work.
The force works however the writer
especially in
wants
stuff like
to work.
this.
Yeah. No,
where nothing really matters.
You want. Nothing really matters in all the Star Wars.
So it was a pretty good one.
They do whatever they want.
I didn't feel like I wanted more out of that story. Like it felt like a very contained.
It didn't feel like there was too much more
they could do.
At least they could have done like on that planet.
Yeah.
In general.
I mean, we could follow the Jedi as she's going off, but like.
But that wasn't the point.
Yeah. No.
It's called The Village Bride for a reason.
Yeah. Pretty good. So that's episode 4. Episode 5 is one of my favorites, for sure. The Ninth Jedi.
Oh yeah.
This was a very well done one. Very much enjoyed it. So this is like years in the future. The Jedi Order is like a complete myth at this point.
Just about everything is a complete myth.
That's true. And this whole series,
lightsabers are a myth.
Yeah, like nobody even believes lightsabers are real or whatever. There's nothing. They don't exist. And this one guy, he's like,
It's like a baron or
yeah, he's like some kind of high-ranking person on a planet, and he's like sending out invites to people who are force sensitive throughout the galaxy, saying, "Hey,
Jedi's sending it to Jedi."
Well, but the Jedi doesn't exist. That's why I said force people.
Well, I thought he said. I'm pretty sure that specifically we're talking about Jedi stuff.
Yeah, basically, yeah, and he's trying to rebuild the Jedi Order, and he invites all these people.
Lightsabers, come here. Come to this planet.
Because nobody has lightsabers, I guess.
Because they're.
I guess because it's one of the few resources of the Kyber crystal, and he has access to. They're mining the asteroid field.
Yes.
So, we're down there. We see that, and they're all in this like really kind of creepy like satellite outpost.
Yeah.
It's really cool, and they're all in there like, "Hey, I got a summons. What about you?" And like, "Yeah, we were all summoned here too." And then this giant droid comes in here, and I was like, "This thing's creepy." I was like, "Oh my goodness!" It was very well done, and
yeah, he's like 10 feet tall. He's got like super long arms. He kind of reminded me of
K2SO.
No, but no. Freaking Castle in the Sky, Laputa, the big robot things.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, like with the long arms. That's what it reminded me of.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah,
just a little bit, but yours is probably more correct, more accurate,
more in the same universe.
Yeah, in the same universe.
But yeah, so they go in there.
Big droids like they're like, "Where is he? He will be here shortly," or something like that.
Yeah, so you get the droid's like a messenger.
He like riddles them every once in a while too. He's like asking them like riddles, like they ask a question, he like just goes off on a riddle or whatever kind of, or he not like riddles, but like he speaks very mysteriously and like fantastically.
And that's why I kept waiting for this droid to pull out like a red lightsaber.
What is gonna happen? Yeah,
I'm like, he's gonna kill all these guys. Oh my goodness!
Which, spoiler alert. He does. Technically. So then we cut back to the home planet.
Yeah, the home planet.
That is, right above or below where the satellite is. We cut to a smithing shop, I guess.
He's the lightsaber smith. He's the one that's making the lightsaber.
Shang-Chi, by the way. Shang-Chi. Simu Liu. Don't ever ask us to pronounce it right. We're just gonna call it that. Simu Liu is the dad. Just throwing that out there.
It was pretty great.
A lightsaber forger.
Yeah,
like you
so
said.
He's making it. And his daughter...
She has a lightsaber that he just like... She comes back and is like, "Are they ready to go?" And he's like, "You tell me, right?"
Yeah.
And then she... And it's a clear blade.
Yeah, it's like greenish.
It's like...
Clear. And it's really like long.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Wow, I didn't expect it to look like this." And he's like, "Well, I made it so that everybody's force sensitivity will be reflected in the blade."
Yes.
So he's like, "You're not
to the force."
Yeah, your connection to the force. So he's like, "Yours isn't there yet." So it's.
But she's still like swinging around and doing cool tricks. She's
talented. She has a skill to it. So you're like, okay, so she's probably got a little bit of training. I think of Will Turner from where he's the forger, but he's also been practicing with these swords every day. So she's pretty decent with it.
She's good. She's good.
And then they find out. Oh no! Then
he's got about 7 or 8 lightsabers.
Yeah.
And he gives
one for
it
each
to
of the people up there. Yeah.
To take it to them.
Well, because people start showing up, and he's like, "All right, you need to leave."
Yeah, he says it like right before they show up, though.
Yeah.
Like they show up, and because she's just about to leave, as they pull up.
That's so good.
And then he's got a lightsaber too, but they're like, "You were violating the law. Stop! You're violating the law," as they say. He's like, "For doing what? Because you're in possession of lightsabers." He's like, "What lightsabers? What lightsabers? You were." He was like, it's cracking me up because they're like, "You're getting arrested by the person who commissioned you," is basically what they said.
Yeah, he said that the guy who, the ruler of this whatever, he's the one that sold them out. Yeah. And you're like, what? Okay. Yeah. I was like, man, so maybe this guy is actually a bad guy, and he's like, right? Because the whole thing, you're like, what is going on? You don't know
who this person is.
And it's cutting back and forth to this temple, like where you're getting more of the riddles.
Yeah, they keep asking. They're getting like angrier and angrier. Like, all right, where is this guy? Come on, where's the lightsabers?
Are we like? Did you bring us out here for nothing? Like, what's going on? And I kept feeling like, okay, they're about to all get ambushed. Yeah. This whole thing is really just the Sith plot or whatever to ambush any potential Jedi and kill them all. It's because you're getting that whole feeling. So the girl finally gets to an old droid.
Okay, but cut back. We're not done. Because he's got a lightsaber, the dad does, and he turns it on, and it's green. It's green. Which means so cool. He's connected to the Force. It was just so cool. Because they're like, because first off, when he says, oh, the color will show your attunity or whatever to the Force, and you're like, oh, well, that's going to come back later, obviously. But then they're like, wait, his was green, which means he could have been a Jedi, or he's just strong with the Force.
Yeah, or he's strong with the light side of the Force.
Yeah. And then his furnace blows up, so they're all off, and she's driving away as it's blowing up, and she's like, Dad, no!
Yeah, he's not dead, he's captured.
No, he's like, oh.
So you see him kind of getting dragged out. And then they kind of chase after her, but she basically loses them. Yeah. She gets to the thing, and she's like, I've got to get up there. Old droid. She's like, I need to get there. We need to get these Jedi down here to help save my dad. So she's like, please get me up there. And I love it. He's sitting there with his little oil can, and he's like, I'm on my break. Yeah. And she looks over, and there's five other droids that are all decommissioned. Yeah. They're dead. And she's like, well, you're the only one running.
Old droid. And I love that she just calls him old droid the whole time.
And he just gets up all slow, and he's like, let's go. And he starts walking really slow.
And she gets behind him and pushes him, right?
Oh,
I don't know if that happened or not, but she's telling him, "Come on, let's go."
I think in there, and it's this rust bucket, and it's flying up there, and she's gripping it.
Yeah,
oh man,
and he was laughing, right, while he was driving. I think he was laughing.
I love the connection. He's like an old pilot, is what it would be, and he's this crazy old pilot, but it's a droid. It was so great. And he's going up there, and they finally get there, and she's like, "I've got the lightsabers. I need you to help me save my dad." And they're like, "Well, hey, do you know the guy who commissioned it?" She's like, "Yeah, I've known him since I was a little kid." And they're like, "Well, where is he?" And they grab the lightsabers, like, "Wow, this is so cool." And then you get the reveal that the droid is actually like an exosuit, because the guy's inside of it. He's like, "I'm right here," and he comes out, and they're like, "Oh, good."
And then they all turn on their lightsabers, and they're all red.
All but one of them is red.
Yep. Well, he doesn't turn his on.
Yeah.
The one guy.
Because he's like, what? Yeah. What?
So first off, throwback, because we forgot to mention this, but we go with one guy at the beginning who's like, "Are you guys also here to see them?" He's kind of the second main character, kind of. Yeah. But he's you can kind of tell he's going to be one of the main characters, just the way he's talking.
Oh my, it's so good.
He's like, "Are you guys here to do?" And he's like, "Whoa, what the crap?"
Yeah.
Because it's 7 of them that turn on their lightsabers, and they're all red. And he's just like, "Oh."
And then you find out the guy who called them all there, that was in the droid. He's like, "I thought, I heard that my message was intercepted and the Jedi were killed, and that people came in their place." So he's like, this whole thing was a test, really, because he knew something was going on. So that's why he was testing them to find out,
trying to see guys who were
drawing them out, and we get into an epic
action scene, baby,
showdown. So they're all fighting. So this guy, he's not just an old man trying to start. He's got some.
He knows what the freak he's doing.
He's going boom, 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 and the little girl's like, "Quick, grab your lightsaber!" To the one other good guy. Yeah. She's like, "Quick, we need to help him." It's blue.
Yeah.
It's blue. Yeah.
And so she's fighting still with the clear lightsaber.
You want to talk about what happens?
She's fighting.
As she's fighting,
she's like, boom, and then it just goes green.
It goes green. Oh, I love
and then
it.
She like,
and so they're taking, they're taking them out one by one. But then
the old dude's taking them out like he takes out like 3 in like 10 seconds. It's wild.
Insane.
And the whole time they're all like calling each other's name as they die. Which was cool. I like that little aspect.
It didn't feel like more of just like, okay, they're faceless people. Like they're like, these are young Sith acolytes that are like still kind of new.
They probably could have.
They could have
came
maybe
back to the light side.
If the other also if they had maybe not had the other guy and the girl there, they would have taken him out. But
they would have killed him.
I think they would have killed the old guy.
Yeah, probably. But he kills like
he
over
does.
half of them.
But like they're young, so like when something happens, they're like, oh my goodness, they hesitate, and that's what he uses to get the edge on them.
Because he's not holding anything back.
No, he's going.
He cuts like one of them in half, and
it's insane.
It's wild.
Yeah, and so they kind of start, the numbers thing kind of starts wearing him down, and the girl is like, no. And I love this part too. I kind of had to see it again on the second kind of watch. But like I saw it. One of them, the lightsaber is not red anymore; it's turning purple, and he's like the last one that's alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
I know, but
you didn't notice that the first time?
No, I saw it later, but it was starting to turn purple earlier. Is what I was saying. Anyways, you find out, and he's like, "Hey, this isn't you." And he's like, "I guess their dark side consumed me, and their anger and everything." He's like, "You're right. I'm so sorry." And you're just like, "Also, now we've got like
4.
Yeah.
Because there's the old dude, the girl, the new guy, and then the taller alien guy.
Yeah.
So now we have 4 Jedi.
4 Jedi. Which would be like, she was actually like the 9th one in that circle, but they were all dead.
Yeah, they're all destroyed.
So then they're like, all right, and so they go and they're gonna go rescue the dad, and that's how it ends.
It was such a good episode.
Peak episode. That was a great episode.
It's like top episode, and then another episode we're gonna do. Like they could both just interchange because they're both so good.
So good. So that was a great one. That was episode 5. So we've got 4 more episodes. But that was a great one. Loved it. All right. Then we kind of get another kind of calm one.
This one's
Tobi or Toby. Yeah.
And I'm assuming this is the one you're talking about that reminded you of the Kirby
morning
cartoon?
Tatooine one. Tatooine Rhapsody.
Oh, okay. Well, this one reminded me of Astro Boy.
Oh,
I mean, because it's basically
Yeah, no, they very heavily influenced from it.
Yeah.
This old professor like creates robots to help him solve the creation of life. He's trying to bring life to this planet.
He's on a planet, that's like dead.
Yeah.
And you could, if you think about it, he's obviously a Jedi. 'Cause he's wearing Jedi robes.
Yeah, but if
overlap
if you're kind of
or
watching,
lab coat over it.
He's he looks like a professor though. But you're right, it's kind of Jedi professor-ish.
And I didn't notice this at first. I didn't notice this until the end. But he apparently didn't have arms.
No, he did not have
arms. I didn't notice that at all. The whole time I was like, because the
because the flowiness of the
later on.
Yeah.
And they mentioned that he didn't have arms. I'm like, wait, he didn't have arms?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah.
I noticed it maybe halfway through.
He's just like using the Force like with his mind to move stuff.
But you don't really notice that 100% because you don't know until later. But this little droid Toby is obsessed with like Jedi. Yeah. Like they're his heroes. He dreams about becoming one, and so
we literally have a daydream animation scene where he is a Jedi, like fighting and flying.
He loves it. Cool. So he really wants to be one, and the professor's like, "Fine, if you want to be one, you need to go find a kyber crystal to make your lightsaber." So he's searching all over the world.
A little montage of him looking over rocks and stuff like that.
And then he's like, "Well, I looked everywhere," and then they're like, "Oh wait, there's one place I haven't looked. The place he's told never to go to, the basement."
The basement, always the basement.
And he goes down the basement and he finds a spaceship. A little one-person jet, and he's like, "Oh, cool!" He gets shown he's playing with it. He's like calling all Jedi, and he's playing on the radio. And of course, oh man,
people respond.
Inquisitors hear the call, and things go downhill.
The professor's like, "What are you doing? Get out of there!" And he sees that he sent out a location or transmission or whatever. He's like, "Oh, well, crap! It's too late now."
He's like, "All right."
So he hides him. He's like, "Don't come out." And then I don't remember he says when he can come back out.
He shuts him down.
Yeah, he basically shuts him down. And then he wakes back up, and it's like, who knows how long it's been for real. It could have been, it could have been a while.
Yeah.
And he was like, "What's going on?" So he goes back out, and he sees the whole place is destroyed. And there's like...
This is where I had a question coming up, though.
I have the same question, I'm pretty sure.
There is a pile of rocks where you're assuming...
Who buried the professor? It wasn't the Sith Inquisitor. Why would he bury him?
And all the droids were destroyed.
I was thinking it could have... Well, one of them was still alive.
Was one of them?
Yeah.
Maybe
the floating
one.
I was like, it could have been one of the droids.
I guess.
But...
It was a question to me.
It's very symbolic,
not an important
obviously.
question, but I'm just like, wait, what?
Yeah,
what?
Who buried this guy, huh?
Yeah.
And so he's like, all right, I'll finish what you started. grandfather.
Yeah, basically.
He rebuilds up the lab over time. And
gets all the droids.
Montage. Eventually, there's clouds in the skies. It's like, oh, there's clouds. What's going on? Eventually, you see like little shrubbery up in between rocks. And then eventually, like, it starts raining and life comes back. And then, does something trigger the Inquisitor to come back, or he just comes back?
He comes back, he's like,
He just comes back.
Yeah, he comes back.
And then he's like...
It's during the rainstorm.
I see the armless Jedi left something or whatever.
Yeah.
And so...
They have a little showdown.
He's fighting, and then he had a kyber crystal, like, inside of him. This one was weird.
Yeah, it's very, like,
metaphorical, yeah. Where it's like, we go to, like, dreamscape mode, and he's like, the kyber crystal rises out of his chest, and he puts it together in a lightsaber.
In the dream.
And then, he's back with it. So it's very... Did this really happen? Or what's going on here? So, and he fights.
Just accept it.
Cool action.
Yeah.
It looks... I like the art style. It's good art.
No, it's fun.
Good art style. And so he finally defeats him. Yeah. Boom. And then he's like... He's kind of sad, kind of happy because he defeated him. And then he goes back into the ship with all of his little droid buddies. And they're like, all right, let's go continue what...
Bringing life to the
father's
galaxy.
plan was. I don't even remember what he called him. What the professor's plan was. And he goes off into the stars to be not a professor, to be a Jedi.
Yeah. And it was, like I said, it felt much more like the little kid ones.
It was more kiddie.
It's a breather one after some heavier stuff.
But it was good.
It was good. It was fun. Nice. I wouldn't want to see much more of that one, I'll be honest.
No. It's too lighthearted.
Very lighthearted.
It's a little too lighthearted.
Oh, yeah. But then we get back into a much more heavy concept one, which is The Elder. This is
favorite, second favorite, personal favorite episode. It's really good.
So I'll read the centuries after the death of Darth Bane and the initial extinction of the Sith, Tajin, and his Padawan Dan are sent to explore the Outer Rim.
Well, no, that couldn't work. My theory couldn't work. It's like, do you think it was Darth Bane? It couldn't have been, because he was way too small.
Yeah, no.
But still pretty cool.
But yeah, so they're going around, and as they're flying, patrolling the Outer Rim, the Master, he senses a disturbance in the Force, and it's like, and immediately it's gone. And he's like, we need to go check this out, whatever it was. And they're going down, and he's like, well, there were stories of, dark side users and all that stuff. And he's like, so you get the feeling, okay, the Sith are no longer there.
Yeah.
So nobody's seen one. And they go down, and they go to this little village. It's very well done. It's a very well, it builds the tension throughout the whole thing. Goodness, where you just, it starts off, and then you something's wrong, and then it gets worse and worse and worse.
It did really good with that. It was really
good.
The build
was good.
The feel out of all of them, I felt like that was the most, holy crap, what the freak's gonna happen type deal.
Danger is around the corner. And they go down, and then the people are, and the village people are like, an elder, an old man came through here, and he went that way, basically. Or he went off, and they don't really know where.
And they're like, he left his ship over here.
And the Padawan's like, well, do you think he's a Sith? Maybe we get to fight him. He's all excited.
Yeah, he's super excited.
He's like, I want to see some action. I've been out here in nothing.
I'm ready. I'm ready, Master. If he's gonna want to fight, I'm ready. That's what he's like saying.
And the Master's like, well, why don't you go up on the mountain? And
no, it was his suggestion.
Oh, he was. Yeah, he wanted.
Padawan. He's like, well, they heard the ship's over there, mountains over there. Why don't we split up? Because I can climb really well.
As soon as you split up, that's a bad decision.
He's like, you know how good I am with mountains or whatever. He's like, okay.
Yeah. So the Master stays with the ship, waiting for the guy to return.
And he finds the ship too, and he's like, it looks just like what a Sith ship used to look like.
Yes.
But I can't find its whatever in my database.
Yeah,
which means
it's very mysterious.
Yeah, it's either super old or new, but it's probably super old because it's called the Elder.
Yeah.
It's older than the database.
So the Padawan goes up on the mountain, and his guides are these little kids, and I'm like, are they gonna kill these kids? Man. I'm like, no, please
I could have seen that happening.
Oh my goodness!
And right before that, he's like, watch out for the whatever animals, right?
Oh yeah, these dangerous animals that live on the mountain.
And then the Padawan's like, oh well, I'll be ready to fight whatever, even if it shows up. He's like, okay, but if you don't, they won't attack you.
Yeah, don't fight them.
Don't fight them because they're not. They're only aggressive if you... It was something like that.
Them, yeah,
instigate them.
Yeah.
And so, he's got the kids guiding him up, and he's walking along, and he's like, what the heck is that?
And
he sees the animal, and it's, all sliced up and stuff, and that's when you, really start to feel like, holy crap, what's happening?
And he's like, it took it out in one hit.
It's like, it wasn't... What did he say?
There's like a clean slice in the neck.
Clean slice. Only a lightsaber.
And the master's like, all right, you need to get out of there
now. And he was like, actually, he's like, okay. Maybe, he was like, yeah, okay, I'll come back. And he turns around.
And there he is, this tiny little guy. In black robes.
Dark Yoda type deal.
That is the thing. It's like a dark Yoda. But he's like human looking. Barely. And he's like, oh, wow, I haven't seen...
Jedi, a Padawan.
Yeah. He's like, I felt the strength of the master. I was hoping to face him.
Are you? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, you're not strong enough to be the master.
No, he's creepy looking. He's got the little Sith eyes.
He's got the yellow teeth.
Yeah. And
gums.
You're just like, oh man, he needs to run. But the Padawan's like, he's like, all right, I've got this. I can do this. And he pulls out his lightsaber, and then the little Sith guy pulls out these like two little swords. I can't remember what they're called, but they're actual like weapons. Yeah. But they're like two little lightsaber swords.
Yeah.
But they're not lightsabers. They're like looking like knives.
Well, they're lightsabers, but they're
Yeah. Anyways, and so you're like, okay. And he's like, well, I'll have fun with this kind of thing. And you're just like, oh my goodness.
It was like the animal was too quick.
Yeah, the animal's
I'm hoping you'll be more of a challenge or whatever.
Oh my goodness.
It was wild.
And so he goes after him.
And he's fast.
He's on him like that.
Yeah.
And
like Padawan's like, oh crap.
And he's doing it.
Holy crap.
And you can tell this old man is toying with him.
Yeah, he's like.
And he's like kind of smiling, and he's like, oh man, you have to do a lot better than that.
Yep.
And then Padawan's like, he's in trouble. And then I thought he died. I'll be honest. He hits him and he wounds him.
He like slices his stomach.
Because you don't see it. Because it's Disney Star Wars. We're not going to see hopefully a lot. Or I don't think so. But
one interaction. Holy crap. This guy sucks. He's with the Sith thinking, all right, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
Like, boom, slices him.
He slices him and he falls over. And he's like, okay, I thought he died, but
the master's
wasn't
like,
dead.
Oh, crap.
So the master's running up. Yeah. He's trying to get there. And he goes up there and we have a really cool showdown. He's like, the Sith is like,
one.
now here's what I'm better. He's like, and they start fighting. And this is what really got me. Was like, the elder was like, if I was in my prime, this wouldn't be much of a challenge. So I'm glad that, and he's like, oh my goodness, because this guy's deadly. Yeah. Like, imagine what he was like when he was in his prime.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And like the master's just barely coming out of his prime.
Yeah,
he's probably, I don't know what ages are in Star Wars, but he's probably like 40 something.
Yeah, he's past his peak.
Yeah, he's past his peak. He's just starting to downhill, whatever.
The decline.
Decline, yeah. And so he's like, better finish this fast. Is what he's thinking. Oh, it's such a good fight. And they're dueling and stuff. And he breaks one of his. It's not much of a competition, honestly.
It's very like intentional. Each move is very like methodical. Yeah. It reminds me of the Darth Vader and Obi-Wan fight in Episode 4, where it's like it's kind of quick movements, but there's not like it's not fast action.
No,
it's just like
all mind games kind of.
Yep.
But the Sith he's not really doing too good against them, honestly.
No, he realizes he's gonna lose because he's not strong enough.
No, and like the master like just boom destroys one of his lightsabers like pretty fast, and then I can't remember what all happens. I remember how he kills him though.
Yeah,
which is wild because he like do something. I don't remember how it goes, but then he has his lightsaber off and he goes. It turns it on right inside of him, like right through the chest. Oh, it's so good.
And this is what I thought was insane. So the Padawan's alive because he helps him a little bit in the fight.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Okay, all right, go ahead.
I'm just gonna say the ending.
Okay.
Did you want anything else to the fight?
Yeah, I mean a little bit.
All right, you're obviously hyped about the fight.
Yeah, it's such a good fight because he forces his lightsaber at the Sith.
He throws it at him.
And so because they were like in a stalemate, right? Where they're just kind of like holding it.
Kind of, yeah.
So he throws it at him. Sith goes to block. Master drops down, sheets it, and it goes.
Yep.
Just like that.
It's so pretty great.
It's so good.
So yeah, and then with his like dying like last breath, he basically takes like a cyanide pill, or he blows up his ship and he crumbles to dust. Yeah. Or to ash.
Yeah, he was crumbling either way, but then he does a little beep on his ship.
Yeah.
So that they can't
they can't learn anything about what he was. So it kind of. So I wouldn't mind seeing more of that one.
No, I would love to see more.
Because like basically it's these Jedi uncovering the resurrection of Sith, but he wasn't a Sith. He said he was sick of the Sith because they were too focused on themselves. He was a Sith
at one point, and he went off on his own.
So that tells you that there's probably more Sith.
It could be. I think it was just he was part of the Sith a long time ago.
Yeah.
And eventually went off on his own. But it also could be that. It could be pretty recent.
Like I said, there's a lot of questions that I want to see answered in that storyline. A bunch of questions. It's pretty great. So that was a really good one. Yeah. Next one was okay, which is a little weird.
Okay. I've been thinking about this one. it's not that weird. Because it's Star Wars. Like, there's people like that. It just felt a little too in tune, you know? It was a little too good. Like, all right, what's going on here? You know? That's what I was like. I was like, why are you drawing that so well? Where are you drawing? Where are you getting that experience?
It was a bunny. It's a anthropomorphic bunny.
Yeah, woman.
This is a little weird.
It just it felt like it could have went downhill very fast. Yeah, that's all.
So yeah.
Other than that, great story.
It was pretty interesting. It was on a planet that had been struggling with like.
Yeah, it's very
turn of the century
traditional Japanese type.
Yes.
Where it's like the old families are just dying out, kind of, or they're like. Well, it's technically one family is just on its last legs, basically. Yeah. And it's about the father who has one daughter, and then it's the little bunny girl, and it's how they find her and rescue her. It's like it starts 7 years later after that, where they're basically family, and he is uprising against the Empire, who's like taking over, basically has taken over the planet, except for their city, more or less. Except to him, it's not over to him. It's basically over, though.
Yeah, because the daughter is like, I want this to happen. Look what they're doing. They're helping. They're advancing our city. You can see
both sides as someone popular would say.
It's a classic family splitting apart. Yeah. And then the father's like, no, but look at what it's costing us for them to advance our society.
They're like destroying the planet and stuff.
Everything's going, like they're stripping of its resources. It's just, he basically is like, if we keep doing this, it's going to destroy our planet. Yeah. So, which, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
But
they also do need them to help keep them alive, like their whole city and stuff.
Yeah, because they were stuck apparently. Like they were not able to advance. There's no like scientific breakthrough. So so the story is that they're fighting, and then the daughter's like, I'm gonna side with the Empire. So she goes with the Empire. Yeah. And it feels short.
It is really short. It's like
really short.
We didn't get enough from one side to justify the other side. Yeah. Like, we didn't get enough of the daughter and the dad arguing. Sorry, I keep reading. Arguing about we see one argument. Yeah. Obviously, there's supposed to be more, but, like, if you don't get shown it doesn't feel, like, too authentic. It's earned. Yeah. It's like, I get it.
So she sides, she leaves with the Empire.
But it feels so fast for us. Like, she turns on them so
we get in there
easily.
Really fast.
Like, oh, okay. It was okay. I feel like they could have had short, like, not minute long, but like 30-second longs throughout the years of them disagreeing, and then eventually we see them.
We should have seen more of her, like the daughter making concessions to the Empire and like maybe subverting the father to get him to that point where he keeps like she's trying to help him, she's thinking she's making it better, and he keeps making it worse by fighting it, even though she's like I think we could have seen that a little bit better. So we get into the fight, and he's like, all right, so eventually their whole gang, it's really like a mafia type thing. Yeah, they're not so he's like, everybody leaves him, and he's like, all right, to the bunny daughter Lop, he's like, the bunny girl, he's like, since he's like, my daughter left, everybody's left me, I'm gonna pass down the family tradition to you, which is his lightsaber.
It's a really cool lightsaber. It's a katana lightsaber.
Yeah. It's so sick. He's like, use this to basically defend our family. Yeah. To save our planet.
This is our
family. And so it comes down to they basically make an attack on the refinery, which is what it is basically.
Well, she didn't know that he was gonna go attack. She's like, what are you talking about? He's like, stay here, or there's nothing left for you here.
Yeah, he's making the final attack.
Yeah, attack it. She's like, okay, and then I don't know, 10 minutes later in the storyline, giant explosion at the place, and she's like, oh crap, and so she
takes off, and of course then it's the daughter and the father fighting, and she's blinded the father, and then it's a showdown between the daughter and the adopted daughter.
And what kind of weapon did she have?
She had,
was it the nunchucks thing? Is that what she had? It was a traditional type of like weapon, like traditional Japanese weapon, rather than another like lightsaber or whatever.
So it was interesting. Like I said, it had some fun action sequences. I don't really know how much more you could do with that story.
It would just be them fighting over and over time.
Because she's like, basically the father's like, I need you to save the daughter. Yeah, she's blinded by everything. She needs to be safe from herself. And
we are a family.
Yeah. Type deal. Yeah, exactly. So it reminds me a lot of the twins. Yeah. So this one felt very similar. It was a little bit older, like maturity type thing. Yeah. But it felt very like similar story wise. So it was an okay one.
Yeah,
it wasn't my favorite. Then the last one, episode 9, Akakiri. This one was bizarre to me. This is the guy who's helping the princess infiltrate the castle.
Oh.
I liked it, but it was...
First off, I hate the studio that did this one to begin with.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Okay, sorry. I just thought of something that they made and I hate it. Oh, okay. Yeah, everything that this studio... What's the studio name? Do you know?
Let me look for it.
It's probably Production IG. I don't know. Whatever.
Science Saru.
Yeah, them. Everything they've done is always like metaphorical. Like a lot of stuff that you think happens only happens on their head. I hate that crap. I hate that crap. And they do that in the Star Wars one too.
Did they though?
Yeah.
Let's talk through it because I'm not
sure.
Kind of, but not
100%. No, yes, all of the above. See, that's what I'm saying. Is like, did it happen? Did it not happen?
So there's this Jedi who kind of fell in love with this princess. Mm-hmm. Kind of sounds familiar, right?
Yeah.
And he's going back to help her in her time of need. They find out that a Sith had infiltrated the courts of this king, killed the king, and basically took over, and the princess is on the run.
On the run.
And so she said, I need to get back in there and basically defeat the Sith and take over reclaim the throne.
And every peppered throughout, the Jedi's having like PTSD attacks or
which you find out it's not. They're visions. He's having visions.
Right. Visions. Star Wars visions. Right. Ugh. So he's like,
you don't know. He gets migraines and he's dizzy.
Yeah, he's can't move. In the middle of like a fight and stuff. So and he's like,
but yeah, it's their journey into it. They've got these two people with them that are kind of helping them guide them through, which is like they're fun
like
little
locals
characters.
of the land.
Yeah,
type deal. They're
like
fun.
One knows one has the connections to get through the gates. The other one knows the route to go. Mm-hmm. So they do that and they go through and they're kind of like, okay, like one gets left behind in this one dangerous thing, so they go back.
The Jedi goes back and saves them.
Jedi goes back, saves them. So it's like this kind of little journey, and they're talking. You find out, okay, that the Jedi and the princess have a history, and he left, and he kind of left the order almost. Or did he not? It was kind of weird.
Basically. He kind of like went, rogue type deal.
So he's kind of doing his own thing. I feel like the Jedi Order was not as strict back then. Because like this is before the initial extinction of the Sith. Is what it says here.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they go there, and they face down the Sith, and things are going kind of... Okay. And then they go really wrong. Like the Sith comes in and she just destroys them all. Yeah. Captures the princess. I think she kills the two locals, right?
I don't know.
It's really hard to tell because he said some things are really difficult to see.
I don't.
So he's ready to face her down, and the guards start running at him, and you see what's happening. The guards are running at him. The Sith lady's standing in the back, and she's holding up her hand.
Oh. Okay.
And you see a guard just kind of float forward, and he's cutting all the guards down. He cuts down the last guard, and he finds out it's actually the princess. Right. The Sith had put a guard mask on her and everything. So she had pushed her. And
this is where I got so confused.
This was weird.
I didn't see her force pushing her there. I'm like...
You could see her hand.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I was like, why is she attacking him? What the freak... Why did she put the guard clothes on? Okay.
And that's the thing. His whole thing he had been having visions of her dying. And that was immobilized. And so then Sith's like, if you join me, we will bring her back. And he does.
Yeah.
They heal her, and he joins her. And the princess is like, where are you going? He's like, I'm sorry. And he walks away.
He said, I did what I had to do.
I did what I had to do, and he walks into the palace, and she's out there just crying, and that's how it ends. And I'm like, it's super depressing.
Yeah.
But it was very well done, I thought.
Yeah, it was
there's some confusing parts and some weird stuff, but overall, the story, I thought it was the most unique story we had in that. That's Star Wars Visions. Pretty good. Yeah. I enjoyed it a lot.
I hope they come out with more. I would like more where it's different episodes, and I would like a couple continuations.
Yeah, right. So I'm like, cool. If it's even in a show, which I think they're having a second season.
I'm not aware, but maybe.
I'm thinking of something else, but I'm hoping they have a second season.
I do too.
But then maybe a comic or whatnot, a little run would be nice to kind of flesh out some stuff that they had in it. But here's my ranking for it. So starting off at number 9, Tatooine Rhapsody. Again, I felt like it was just it's okay,
that's
not
fair.
Great. Then you might disagree. The Village Bride I put as number 8 for me.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
I mean, it's fine.
I would put that above the last episode.
I think it's just because I like action. It just didn't have a whole lot for me. It felt a little dry at parts. So it was good, but like I said, this is just I had to rank them. So this is where I put it. I put Toby T0B1.
Okay.
Above that one, then the twins.
Okay.
Then I put Lop and Ocho.
Okay.
because I like the style of that one a lot, and there's a lot of things that worked for me with the action and the storyline, and like the whole fighting thing was pretty fun. Yeah. Then I have Akakiri.
I think that needs to be way lower, personally.
I like the story a lot on that one.
It's a good story.
It's pretty fun. Okay. Then the Elder, number 3.
Yes, really good.
It was really good. Then the Duel, and then the Ninth Jedi.
Yeah. I think just about everyone is going to agree, Ninth Jedi is probably the best.
It's pretty good.
I would argue that the Elder, not the Duel, I totally forgot. I got the names mixed up. The Elder, I would put that one.
They're so close for me. I had to look, but like I said, there's just elements of it that really I liked, and they bumped it up for me.
And then the Duel for sure, at least the third. I think it could also swap out with any of the second place, and all the other ones are fine. They're not nearly as good as these 3.
No,
but the other ones are good. I would do let's start from the top. Ninth Jedi, Elder, Duel.
If you need a list, I got it right
here. Okay. So I got Elder, Duel. No, Ninth Jedi, the Elder, the Duel. I would do Lop Ocho. It looked. I like visuals. It looked really good. It had got a good animation and stuff.
Very nice.
Then I would do Village Bride for number 5. Okay. Then I would do Toby. Then I would do Tatooine Rhapsody. Then I would do Akakiri.
Really? You put that one as the last?
I do. I
did not like it. Yeah.
I mean, it's fine.
Is that, you think that's your bias because of the studio?
It's super biased.
Okay. I was like, because
if it was a different studio,
anybody else, and it was the exact same thing,
same storyline, I would like it more. I don't like their animation.
No, it's very distinct. I'll say that. Yeah. All right. Have you watched anything recently that you really enjoyed, or anything you want to recommend or talk about? What If? Oh man,
watching What If.
So yeah, What If?
No.
We were in the 2-part finale for it.
Yes.
Ultron has got all the Infinity Stones, and
spoilers.
Sorry.
This is the second to last episode. Is what if Ultron had gotten the Vision body, in 1?
Yeah. I guess it's spoilers.
Basically what
that's basically, it's like from the very beginning that happens in the episode.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
And which episode is it at the end where that Ultron shows up?
The one before it.
Okay, the Thor one.
Thor one.
Okay.
So I'm like, wait a second, what?
Yeah.
So very interesting, I thought. So
those were in the same, well.
No, we're not. So spoilers if you really care.
We'll see the next episode, but we'll see.
Yeah, so he gets all the Infinity. He wipes out all life in the universe.
Yeah, in that universe.
Kind of, but at the same time, like, Black Widow was still there.
Yeah, how does he not know that they're still
I think because he left before because she was hiding. Like, they would destroy all the hive minds before it connected back to the hive mind, or all the.
I don't agree with
They
that.
had an explanation for it. Sure. It was interesting, but anyways, so they're working on a plan to stop him, and then after he wipes out all life, the Watcher's narrating it, and this is what I was like, freaking out about.
Who said that?
Yeah, Vision's like as he stands there in the quiet, he becomes aware of another, and you're just like, stop talking, Watcher.
Yeah, bro.
And he turns around and he looks right at the Watcher. He's like, I see you. And the Watcher's like, what? And he closes the window thing, and you finally see the Watcher in his little thing. It's like a hall of prisons.
Giant hall, yeah.
And like mirrors and stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. And then Vision or Ultron breaks into there.
Yeah.
And there's this epic battle. And then, again, setting up part 2 of it. So we won't go too much into all this stuff. But that was really cool. I'm looking forward to talking about it.
Also a little Easter egg where they're fighting through dimensions.
Yeah.
There's a Mustafar.
Yeah, you see Mustafar in Vader's
castle. Vader's castle, which is like, you could have argued that it wasn't, but then you literally see Vader's castle back there.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Which technically, there could have been an alternate universe where there was Star Wars. I don't know.
That's the thing.
You could do
the thing with multiverse is literally anything is possible. Anything can be explained because it's a multiverse.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, sure. You can argue with as much as you want. Things don't have to make sense because it doesn't have to make sense.
Yeah.
So you just go along for the ride at that point, in my opinion. Yeah. Speaking of, one last spoiler for us on Venom 2.
Oh. Still haven't seen it.
We're going to see it, but I'm aware of the spoiler. We talked about this a little bit. They are connecting it to the MCU.
Wow.
Very interesting. In a post-credit scene. I know. So, very interested to see where all the universes go from here.
Yeah.
So, we'll find out. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about it in our What If episode. But, cool.
Oh,
thanks for thanks for watching, guys. Tune in next time for some more fun stuff. And, of course, make sure you follow our blog and all the other things that we do. So, The Mediators. That's us.